Hello, everyone. Welcome to STEAM Saturday. I'm so glad to see you this morning. I'm Miss Monica from the Glenwood branch of the Howard County Library System. I'm here today virtually with Miss Christie. Thank you, Miss Christie, for helping with behind the scenes today. And this is our bi-weekly class where we explore science, technology, engineering, art, and math through fun and simple activities that you can do at home. Just to remind you, this class today is pre-recorded. So if you need to pause or go back or anything with this class, you can, and that's really nice. So if you don't have the materials we're using and you want to pause them and go run and get them, you can at any point. So welcome. So today we're going to focus a little bit on math. And we're going to talk about measuring, and we're going to measure solid items, like I have a box right here, and how we go about measuring. And measuring is kind of an interesting topic, I think, because there's two different types of measurement. Have you ever heard like a foot or a meter? Like they're different systems. And there's the metric system, which is also known as the international system, that most countries use. Or there's in the US, we use something called the imperial measurement system. And that is based on parts of people's bodies. A long time ago, they thought, okay, a foot, we can measure by the length of somebody's foot, and then they divided that out to 12 inches. So you'll hear that a lot, but we all know that sometimes people's feet are not always 12 inches long. They might be smaller, they might be larger. So sometimes that's not as accurate. You still want to use a measuring device such as a ruler. So it's kind of interesting and just fun-filled fact, we are one of 3 countries that still don't use the metric system, that have not converted as of 2021. That might change when you're watching this. Maybe it will be down to 2, but I thought that was super interesting and unique about the United States. So for our activity today, we will use the metric system. I personally go back and forth between the two. It depends on what I'm looking at and what I'm measuring, but also you want to make sure that when you are looking at something and you see the measurements of it, you want to see, is it in inches or is it in, centimeters? What system of measurement did they use? Because there's, in one of the books I'm going to recommend, there's a wonderful story about NASA and some engineers, because engineers use measurement all the time. And there was some measurements on something that they were working on. And one engineer used the metric system and another engineer thought that it was the imperial measurement system, and they're not exactly the same. So their calculations were incorrect. So point of the story is always know what measurement system is being used. So let's talk about some different tools to take measurements. And this is kind of, I'm sure you have one of these at home. And what's kind of fun is challenge somebody in your house to take some measurements of some common things, like how tall is the refrigerator? How wide is that bookshelf that we have with books? Like just kind of guess and then measure them and see how long or wide things are. Speaking of which, so this is just a box of oatmeal that I have, okay? So when you're talking about length, you're talking about top to bottom, okay? How tall an item is, that's length, okay? When you're talking about width, you're talking about side by side, how wide an item is, okay? Then there's a third one that you hear, how deep is an item? That's the depth, okay? So front to back, how deep it is, or just like side here, okay? So you also wanna know, like, for example, if you're buying a piece of furniture, I'll use the bookshelf. I'm a librarian, so of course I love my bookshelves. If you wanted to buy a bookshelf for your bedroom, and you've got your dresser in your bedroom, and you've got your bed, and there's only like a little bit of wall space left in between the two to fit your bookcase, you wanna make sure the width is going to fit between those. but you're also going to want to see, depending on your ceiling height, excuse me, how tall your bookshelf is, okay? Or, excuse me, you also might want to see how deep the item is. Like maybe you don't want that bookshelf sticking out past to where your dresser is or something like that. Excuse me, my throat is a little dry with allergies right now. But so you would want to take your measurements of your space first. And then when you went to the store to pick out a bookcase, you'd probably want to bring something to measure each of them that you like. Maybe you're looking for how they look or how many books they hold or how many shelves they have, but you would still want to take those measurements. And you can do those with a standard ruler, okay? And you can see there's the inches on one side of this ruler, okay? The imperial measurement system that we use here in the United States. And then when you flip it, it's got centimeters and millimeters, which are the metric system. So there are 10 millimeters in a centimeter, okay? We're gonna use that, like I said, we're gonna bring back this ruler in a minute and use that to do our project. But again, so let's try to measure this. So when you measure something, you wanna really, I'm gonna line it up first. You wanna line up your ruler flush, okay? See how that's flush? It's not like this. It's not like sticking up a little bit. It's not kind of wonky, like it's just flush. Okay, like so. And you're gonna go down to here and right where that edge meets where my fingernail is. And this is almost, it's like 7 3/4 inches, or let's flip this, let's look at centimeters. The length of this, again, flush, okay, is 19.5 centimeters, okay? That's the length of it. Again, we can do the same thing with the width. Make it flush, line it up, and measure it, okay? There's also different things to measure with. So my husband actually is a seam fitter by trade, and he builds very big piping systems. And engineers design those. They send the crews the plans with all the measurements on it, and he has to make sure that his measurements and the engineer's measurements are correct when he's building these big systems. So example, a piping system, a good example is if you read the newspaper, the inks for that print go through very, very big piping systems. Your water, when it leaves your house and goes into the sewer system, that's also big, huge piping systems. So you can imagine, for it to go out of your house, maybe, underneath your street, and it goes to the next street, you have to make sure that they fit together correctly. So you have to measure them a lot. And he'll always tell you, measure several times and make sure it's right. So he uses a tape measure like this. I actually had this out yesterday for this class, and he was like, why do you have my tape measure? It needs to be back in my toolbox, but he let me borrow it for the day. And they go out like this, okay? And you can also bend this a little bit too. I know he'll do that. And it's got a nice little lip. So when you're measuring something really big, if he's got pipe that's way, far down from him, he can do this with it and then use the end to kind of latch onto the item like so. I'm just gonna kind of do it like this, okay? You see how that works? So these are kind of cool. You do need to be careful when you're using one of these that it doesn't snap back on you. I'm holding it right now so it doesn't snap back, but it also has a button where, see how it can go back really easily. So if I push that button, see, oh, and it also actually, wow, he's got kind of a cool one that retracts as well. But you can push that down. Let me see if I can do this. You can push it down and it will hold it in place. And then, like I said, I just tried it. You can push it and it brings it back in. So these are kind of neat. It even has like a little clip where he can clip it on the side of his pants and it's ready to go for him. So if your grown-up has one of these, maybe in a toolbox, and they're willing to let you play with it and experiment with it, ask them, but please be careful with it. Like I said, it can snap back at you sometimes depending on the model. This one's pretty high tech because he uses this all the time. The other thing is it is heavy. So you wouldn't want to drop this on like your foot or the floor things. But this is an item that, you know, if you were going to the furniture store, you were measuring your bedroom, you could measure. And actually, you know what, if you have one of these and you want to see how tall your bookcase is or how long your bed is, this is kind of the measurement tool you would want to use. There's also, so that's kind of neat. And then there's also this type of ruler that kind of extends. This one's I found in the antique store and I just thought it was kind of neat. But these are, I know my dad used to always have one of these to use. That's another way. This is, you can see in inches, not the metric system. So the carpenters a lot will use these when they're building something out of wood, and they want to also have like a straight edge. Rulers are really good when you're drawing too, because they provide a straight edge. Same with this one as well. So that's kind of neat. This would not be as good to like draw and like lay it down and try to get that straight edge. So all different measuring tools serve different purposes. There's another type that I want to talk about. It's kind of like this one. This one is also retractable, but it's like flexible. A lot of seamstresses will use this to make clothing or quilts, or it's kind of handy and it's really portable. And you can see it also pulls out and then it doesn't go back. And then it has a button you can pull out. So I love this one. I take this one like when I am shopping for something like a new shelf or maybe a new decorative item for my home or something. And I want to make sure that it's going to fit in the space that I'm looking, like a picture frame or something like that. And it's kind of neat to have this in my pocket so that I can measure things. And this one's really nice. It has the both type of measurements as well. So it actually has the inches yellow, very easy to see on the other side of it. So you might want to ask too, if your grown up has one of these and is willing to let you, use it and measure things with it. This is also really good. I'm going to show you. I just raided my pantry for our oatmeal containers today. This is a cylinder, see, okay. And obviously I would not get a very accurate reading trying to measure this, right? Exactly. So you can use something like this to put it around and measure it, you see, like that, okay? So that's where a flexible measuring tape will come in handy as well. So different things, depending on what you're measuring, might need a different tool. So let's go ahead and do our project. You're going to need a ruler, a pencil, and a piece of paper. Okay, this is just, I am using standard white paper from my printer, or if you have a copier at home, again, ask your grown-up. They might need to print something for work and need all the paper that's in the printer, but more than likely they'll be able to spare a couple of sheets. So we're gonna draw something called a parabola. I learned this in elementary school when I was your age. It's something that you're gonna kind of do and test out. You might need to do a couple of them, but practice. We all know practicing, makes things easier, and you just got to practice sometimes. If you are a younger listener, you might want to ask your grown-up to give you a hand with this. I don't want anybody to get frustrated with you with this because it's a fun project. And once you grasp the concept, it's super fun to draw these. A parabola is making a curved line using a straight line. Do you think we can do that? We're kind of like magicians here trying to figure that out. So you can do that, but it's also a really, really good way to draw and practice using a ruler and practicing the number spots. So I'm gonna bring my camera down because I want you to see the project that I'm working on versus my face. So, okay, so you're gonna start with your paper, okay? I'm gonna make sure that you guys can see this. And you're going to draw a line, and you're gonna wanna draw using the metric system in the centimeters. You're gonna wanna use an even number. So we're gonna start with 10. So we're gonna start at the mark right here. We're going to do 10 and do it exact. And then you're going to make hash marks. Okay, I'm just gonna move this down a little bit. I'm gonna show you this in a minute, okay? So you wanna mark it halfway through, a little bigger hash mark on 5, and then you're gonna mark 1, 2, 3, 4, 5's already marked, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 was already marked too. Okay, and 0 was marked as well. Okay, so let me show you that. Hopefully this comes out okay, that you can see that. Let me just hold it for a minute, okay? So then you're gonna turn your paper around and you're gonna find that 5th mark, that 5 centimeter mark, okay? You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And then you're gonna line that up to your ruler on the 5 centimeter mark on your ruler. And guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna draw another 10 centimeter line, starting at 0, going down to 10. And again, I'm going to mark where 10 was and 0 was, the top and the bottom. 5, the 5th is already marked, okay? And then I'm going to again mark on each centimeter. 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, 4. 5 is already marked. 6, 7, 8, 9, okay? So your drawing should look like that, okay? If you would like, you may put the numbers on your drawing, okay? You could do 1, 2, just do it real light, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You could do the same thing for the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, I didn't do the middle. Okay, that's okay. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I should have started with 0, but that's okay. So you can do that and just keep the middle as the axis across the spot. If you want to do that, it's fine because you can just erase the numbers later. I will say with the hash marks and the numbers, don't press so hard, like kind of just do a real faint line. Like these are even kind of darker, but I wanted you to see them. You'll see this, why I say this like at the end. Then you're going to take your ruler. And like I said, you're going to use that straight edge, which is really, really good for, actually on this side, on this ruler, it's metal. Can you see that? The edge is metal. That's the straight edge. That's the edge that I want to use on this particular ruler. Some of them might not have this metal piece. Another thing about tools with measurement, like especially like we're speaking about a ruler, is it's not something that you want to drop constantly, because once you drop it over and over again, it can change it and not make it as straight and functional as you like. Like this side might get, the metal might get dinged or bent or something like that. It's not as good of a straight edge. That's just a little tip, but if it drops, it's really okay. But just try not to. So, okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna start with the first hash mark here. Okay, actually I'm gonna do this from here so you can see a little better. You're gonna start with your first hash mark. This happens to be 10 that I put, and you're gonna line it up with the first hash mark over here. So I'm gonna go and then you're gonna connect them with your ruler, drawing a straight line. I'm gonna show you that. You see that? Top, first line, then that one on the first line, okay? So you're gonna continue to do that all the way across. You're gonna do the second hash mark. So that's why I say you don't really need the numbers on this. It's okay if you don't. I prefer actually not having the numbers. I'd rather actually eyeball it and kind of count it myself. Then the third set, fourth one down, fourth one across. Finally, fifth one down, fifth one across. Like so, okay? I'm actually gonna recommend you not doing the numbers because I think the numbers will confuse you a little bit more. So you're gonna do the same thing on the other side and each quadrant. So I'm gonna show you this next one, and you're gonna see it kind of backwards. It's just how I'm drawing it. First one, the first one, second one on the top, second one going across. Then you're just going to keep doing this, like so. And let me show you how that looks. Like that, okay? I'm gonna erase these numbers. Like I said, I don't really like using the numbers on these. It makes me actually more confused with this if I don't number it right. I guess if you wanna do each as like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it might help you a little bit. But I just think the numbers make it confusing. Okay, I know when I did it for math, when I was your age, the teacher did make us do numbers. You could also do this on graph paper if you have graph paper to get it even more exact, like so. Okay, and then let me move it up a little bit. What's really neat about this is you want to see the finished product. I have one that I finished the other day. Let me see. Okay, that's what it's going to look. See how the lines look curved? They're not curved. We used a ruler to make them, but the way that they're lined up together and the angles and things, it makes it look like it's curved. I'm going to show you a book that has like a great explanation of that, but I think it's a really cool three-dimensional drawing. You can make these, like we use 10 centimeters across the line on both lines. You could do 20, you could do 15, you could do 50, whatever fits across your paper you could do, or if you have a bigger sheet of paper, you could even do more. So challenge yourself. You started with one with 10 centimeters, do one that's 15, do one that's 20. It's a good like activity to do when you just, you want to get off screens a little bit and you're a little bored and you just want something to do. So there's one that I did with more centimeters. I think this one was either 15 or 20. And then you can also color these in. So you can color them like checkerboards and do like every other, like a gray, do white, gray, or yellow and white, or however you would like. And they turn out really cool color too. And super relaxing, I think, to do. Lots of fun math, really great to learn your measurement and using a ruler. And they're artistic and kind of neat. So I promised you some book suggestions as always. I'll put my oatmeal away. Don't eat that yet. I've already had breakfast. But let me show you some books that I recommend regarding math. This is Math Lab for Kids. It's a great book for all ages, including adults. If you like math or you just want something to do, this is the book for you. It's got fun hands-on activities for learning with shapes, puzzles, and games. It's by Rebecca Rappaport and J.A. Yoder. And this book, I think, would be a fantastic book to check out of the library for the summer. So maybe you're at home this summer and you're just looking for something to do. These have really great lessons and projects that you could like challenge yourself to do one a day and explore math, and you'll go to the next grade in the fall and your teacher will be like, how do you know math so well? Read this book. So I'm going to show you this, what we just did, the parabolas. We're right here. So let me see. So this is exactly what we just did explained in a book. Okay, I was actually really excited to see this because I had planned this activity before I looked through this book. And I was like, oh, I can't remember that math teacher who taught me these, but they're so much fun. So there they are. And there's some different ones. And it explains on how, like what's going on. So, and this is crazy, not crazy, but this is like mind blowing that somebody did this because I would have never thought to do this. I like to sew myself. Somebody did these same, they're calling them stars, but the parabolas, they did them with stitching them. So ask your grown up if they have some embroidery floss or some thread and a needle and try to stitch these. And if you come visit me at the library, please bring those to show me because I have never stitched one of these. But now I want to because that's so fun and cool. So, and then taking it one step further, they did these with curves with an oval. That's pretty cool. And some other shapes here. So super cute, super cool. Like I said, their lessons are called labs in this book. Here's one, draw a square fractional snowflake. That's like kind of similar to what we did. Really, really cool activities. Highly recommend this book. I might have to go through each of these labs this summer because they just look so fun. This one is another great book. We were talking about measurements. And we really just touched on the two different measuring systems and why we use those types of measurements and what the, each one is. But I mean, like I said, we really touched on it. I would need more than 20 minutes to go through everything. But if you want to learn more about measurement, which I hope you do, this is a wonderful book. It's called For Good Measure, The Ways We Say How Much, How Far, How Heavy, How Big, How Old by Ken Robbins. And it just explains the different types of measurements in simple, easy to understand ways. that will help you remember them as well. Because you'll see, I'm looking. I always have to remember how many are in each, how many millimeters are in each centimeter. Like I have to remember that too. So I'm a grown up and I'm not a mathematician, or a scientist. So I have to remember, but this book's kind of, I need to reread because it gives you like some really good tips. So, like how many feet are in a yard? How is measurement related to parts of your body? Like very cool book. So check that out from the library as well. And then last but not least, this book is another super fun one. It's called The School of Numbers by Emily Hawkins, and it's illustrated with these really cool graphics by Daniel Frost. This book also is full of 40 lessons about math. So it's kind of like the math lab, and it will have you thinking of numbers in a whole new cool way, because numbers are cool. So the first line in this book kind of wowed me, and it said, "The world of math is like a playground for your mind." So true, because our minds are working and our gears and are working, and you're utilizing your brain when you're talking about math, and I love it. So again, great book to utilize over the summer. Challenge yourself to explore one of these lessons or labs a day. So I'll show you one page of this because I always like to show you a page of the book so that you can see. So this is the one, this is lesson 32 in this book, and it's mastering measurements. And it's always going to go, see the little bubble here, the little circle, it's always going to give you an activity to do based on the topic, the lesson's topic. So really cool book. So many great books to explore at the library. We are offering appointments now that might even change by the time this airs on how, but you can, the point is you can come into the library now and you can browse our collection and check out lots of books. And we are so excited to see you all back at the library. So also this summer, we will have STEAM Saturday, as far as I know, every other week. So get your grown up to go on our website, which is hclibrary.org, and you can sign up for the next class. Also, if you're new to our STEAM Saturday series and you haven't watched our past episodes, you can always visit the library's YouTube channel. Just go on our website on the way bottom. You'll see the little icon for YouTube, click on it, and all of our classes are there, not just previous STEAM Saturdays, a whole bunch. So if you have older siblings or younger siblings or friends of different ages, even adults, there's something for everybody on that YouTube channel. So happy watching, happy measuring. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. You all have a great day. Go measure something.